joystick to see a full screen version. Now press the Function button. The first item is Slideshow. When you select Start, a slideshow will begin showing all the pictures you've recorded to your mini SD card. To stop the slideshow, press the Function button. Protect ensures that important images aren't accidentally erased. As you view each image, you can select Protect. This icon will appear on the image to let you know it's safe. Print Order marks the images on your mini SD card to be printed anywhere the DPOF or Digital Print Order form is accepted. When you have selected Print Order, press the Set button on the joystick. This icon will appear. The number beside it tells the DPOF how many copies of the displayed image you want to have printed. Pull the joystick left or right to find the images that you want to print. At each image, press the Set button. You can pull the joystick up or down to change the number of copies you want of the selected image. To cancel the print order, set the number of copies back to 0. When you've made your selections, connect the camera to a printer that supports DPOF using the USB cable that came with your camera. Transfer Order allows you to select images that you want to transfer off the mini SD card into a computer. Select Transfer Order and then press the Set button. This icon will appear on each image you view. Cycle through your images and press the Set button to select an image to be transferred. Before you can actually transfer images to a computer, you'll first need to install the software that came with your camera. Refer to the software's instruction manual to find out how to set the program's auto launch setting. When the setting is active in your computer and the camera is connected to the computer via the USB jack, the Direct Transfer menu will appear in the display and the Print Share button will light up. The Direct Transfer menu gives you the following options. All Images lets you transfer all images on the mini SD card to your camera. This is useful if you want to later format the mini SD card. New Images lets you transfer only images that have not yet been transferred to your computer. Transfer Orders transfers images according to the transfer order we mentioned earlier. Select and Transfer gives you the opportunity to select the images now before they're transferred. Wallpaper allows you to select an image from your transferred images and set it as your computer's background wallpaper. The next item in the Function menu is the Setup menu. As before, many of the items listed here are also available in other modes. To review them, we recommend that you check back on this DVD. The first menu here is Card Operations. Print Order All Erased allows you to erase all digital print order forms that have been saved to the mini SD card. Transfer Order All Erase erases all transfer orders that have been saved. Erase All Images erases all the images on your mini SD card, except those that have been previously protected. Initialize lets you clean the mini SD card to prepare it for new images. We recommend you initialize a mini SD card the first time you use it in your camera to ensure that the card formatting suits the camera. Initialize clears all the files, including any that might have been set to protect, but it does not physically erase the stored data. This gives you one last chance to recover files that you may want to keep. Completely Initialize will reformat the SD card, completely erasing all trace of the files that were once on it. Save yourself many headaches, and always transfer, print, or otherwise back up your image files before you perform a complete initialization. The next item that is unique to the Playback Mode Card Function menu can be found under System Setup. Firmware allows you to verify the version of the camera's firmware that is currently installed in your camera. This is the programming that tells your camera basically how to be a camera. It's theoretically possible to change your camera's firmware, but it's not something that we recommend you do. Firmware is your camera's DNA. If you mess with it and something goes wrong, it could be very, very bad. If you ever need to refer to the version of firmware your camera is currently running, check it here. Otherwise, our recommendation is to leave firmware alone. So we've hit all the menus of the HV20. Next, we'll look at some tips and techniques that you might want to use when shooting, and we'll talk about some accessories you may add to your camera bag. Chapter 3: Taking Better Video. Let's talk about how to record the most dynamic images. No matter why you bought your camcorder, you'll want to get beautiful, moving, and dynamic video that shows your subjects and also tells your story. To make it easy, we'll look at a number of techniques and some tools to help you control the light, compose your shots, get steady shots, and use your camcorder to its limits. Basic composition. Let's take a look at some basic composition techniques. To do this, we'll use our camcorder set to a 16:9 or a widescreen image. Since much of our video shooting is either buildings or people, there are some things you should remember when shooting these subjects. Here's a shot of our model. Many people will try and position their subjects in the middle of the screen as we've done here. The problems with the shot are that there is too much headroom. It's better to take your camcorder and position her to one side of the image, so she's showing you the subject and you have her image larger than it was and you can see her clearly. Another common mistake when composing a shot is to cut the person's body off. Headshots should look like this one rather than with the top of the head missing or the side of the body cut off. The rule of thirds is a very popular rule, if you will, in photography and art. What it does is break your image up into 3 slices, both vertically and horizontally. It can help you position things to provide the most pleasing shots. Here's a few examples. In this shot, our model's eyes are positioned along the top third line. There's appropriate headroom, and we've even filled the screen with her image. Zoomed back, this time we've positioned the camera so our model is along one side of the screen, looking in. She can move if she wants, and she can show us the scene behind her, and she's free to walk through the shot to the other side of the screen, giving us motion and adding interest when she talks. So much of the time, our videos show a bunch of static people posing for the camera, as we've been taught to do in still photography over 2 centuries ago. Remember, we're using video cameras, and they can capture motion, so use it. Your subject will be less nervous, and you'll have a better video. Fill that screen. Your eye, greatly assisted by your mind, can overemphasize what you see in the viewfinder or monitor. You tend to think of things as larger and closer than they really are. If you just press the button and record, you'll come home with shots that are not what you thought you had. They'll feature small people with huge backgrounds that doesn't really grab the magnificence of what you remembered you saw. That's why it's important to take a second look before pressing the record button. Ask yourself a couple of simple questions. Does your subject fill the screen? Does it look as magnificent on the LCD monitor or the viewfinder as it does in person? Try your best to use as much of the screen or viewfinder as you can to capture your scene without cutting things off. You can take that wide shot. It's a great tool to establish the size of something, but for the most part, getting as close to your subject as possible and filling the screen will give you much more satisfying and pleasing results.